The following is a presentation of TFNN. Trade what you see with Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, Larry Pesavento.
Okay, looking good, Billy Ray, feeling good, Lewis. 2 more days in the year. Can you believe we're almost finished at 2020? Folks, it literally scares me to death when I see this time go by. I mean, it seems like yesterday. I mean, we haven't been on a plane in a year. We haven't seen our grandkids in a year. Oh, man, that's tough. Anyway, I posted the 3 charts. I posted the DAX, I posted the FTSE, and I posted the Dow Jones yesterday. We were looking at that 3 drive to a top pattern. We talked about it. I said there was a possibility, that the risk there was very small at 30,600. It dropped 300 points, worked out okay. Now, they don't always work out okay, but that's just a pattern that we're looking at. There's nothing more, nothing less. You see the same thing in the DAX. You see the big ABCD, and that's what we're one of these days, this market will turn down and have a big correction. But, I don't know when that's going to be, and maybe it started now. I'm not sure. We're starting to see first-time weakness in the market, and you're not seeing it in the NASDAQ, of course. You're not seeing it in the S&P, and you're not seeing it in the Dow. But you ask yourself the question, who's been leading this market up for the past, 8 or 10 weeks? And the answer to that has been the Russell. It's been a rocket ship to the upside. Now, that rocket ship is running out of fuel. And I mentioned that yesterday on the show. I mean, I don't think anybody probably listens to me here, which I can understand that. But if you take a look here, this is the Russell yesterday. You'll be able to see it. There we are. You'll notice that the rally that we had yesterday, you can see that on the 29th. And the way you get to the 30th is you add 1 day. You see the 38% retracement? Look what happened. The market broke from 2007 all the way down to 1947, dropped 60 handles. And what did it do? It rallied right back to the 382 retracement of the high that we made back here on the 2nd of, on the 29th. Excuse me 1 second, folks. My limit minders are going off crazy, and it's probably it's crude oil. Okay, that's not a problem. Hold on just a second, and I can turn that off. Okay, just covering a little short there. Anyway, let's move on here to talk about this a little bit. Now, the reason why I bring this up to you, folks, is that those of you who've been listening for a while, you know that I happen to be a very good friend of Tom Hugard. He's basically my adopted son, and I've known Tom for, it's been almost 20 years now. And he has done a great job for the things that he does. He's very successful. But when last September of 2019, we had a seminar in London where David Paul and myself and Tom talked for 2 days. And we had 1 live trading day. And what we did was we, gave our ideas of what the market was going to do. One of the things that I did is that I went back and started to review what Tom was doing, because you know that he's a very aggressive trader. He's only right about 25% of the time, but when he's right on that 25% of the time, it's very, very important. Now, bear with me here just a little bit, because I think this is relatively important, and whether it is or not, I don't know. But I'll cover Apple in just a minute, but this is even more important than Apple. Let's just look at this chart again here in the Russell. I'm going to put it up here and just to show you what to expect, because I don't know if this is going to happen, but you have to think in terms of probability and risk control. But if you like to trade with the trend, okay, and the trend is your friend, right? All right, so that's what we're looking at. Now take a look here. This goes back to February of last year, and this is when I was getting ready. You'll notice here, look at the 382 retracements in the euro on the way down from 110 all the way down to 108. Now, this is just a 15-minute chart, but it shows the principle. This is the same thing we're looking at in the Russell now. Now, if the Russell gets back above that 382, that would break this sequence and it would start to rally again. But until that happens, this is a downtrend. You define trend, folks, is you have to ask the time frame of what it is. If someone asks you what is this the bullishness of the stock market, you could say, yes, it is bullish on the daily, weekly, monthly, whatever you want to look at. But if you look at it on a half hour, 15-minute chart, we're actually in a little bit of a downtrend. So you have to ask the question, what time frame am I looking at to determine the trend? The trend is nothing more than higher bottoms and higher tops. That's on an uptrend. On a downtrend, you have lower tops and lower bottoms. That is right out of Gartley's book, page 249, when he described the ABCD pattern. That's what it is. And that's what I've been doing for all these years. Every day here for 14 years here in TFNN. So I think it's very, very important. It's just one of those things. Now, if you think that we looked at that, what do you call it, the euro on a 15-minute chart, let's just go to a little bit longer term time frame and take a look at this one. This is the cash S&P going back to 2009. Look at the low in 2010, right at a 382 retracement. That was in July. I remember being in Clearwater, Florida, visiting Tom for a whole week. We were doing a seminar, and that market was making a perfect 382 retracement. Then look, it made a 78% retracement in 2011, and then look at the 382 retracements as we went through. I mean, you got to pay attention to these folks because they don't work all the time, but they work some of the time, and that's what you're looking for. You're going to be trying to find out, what is the thing that can get me in the market with the least amount of risk? And that's what patterns and ratios do for you. Nothing more than that. Now we have a very interesting chart that we got from our good friend, Mr. Z, in the room, and this is something that we happen to be in. Mr. Z is absolutely looking at the short side of Apple also. You can see here the pattern that he's looking at. You can see the higher bottoms that we have here. We have a possibility of a double top. That's what he's looking at there. And that is very similar to what we were looking at when we were following the Apple yesterday. If you remember, we were watching Apple that it should not get above, let's just get this up here so we can quickly see it, that it should not get above the 1.618 expansion, which was at 138, 138.80, 138 even. We did go a little bit higher. We went to 138. 138.79. Our stop was at 138.89. So now that has a small profit in it right now with a potential for it to get down to the 133 level. Now this is short term, but I'm trying to illustrate the fact that the patterns give you a spot to place a order where you don't have to risk very much. Now, the only way you learn this, folks, is to practice yourself. You're not going to get this in 1 or 2 days. It took me years to do it, and I'm still learning. So I mean, it's not that's one of the things that keeps you young, though, is that you're learning something every day. But that's really what it's all about. From my perspective, because I view this as a business. One day I'm selling pickles because I've got extra pickles, or the other day I'm selling cotton because I've got too much cotton. So that's what we're watching. 877-927-6648.
If you're not currently using the TAS Profile Scanner when looking at setting up your trading opportunities, then your arsenal is short a mighty weapon. The TAS Profile Scanner is a standalone piece of software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, Taz understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. You also gain access to the webinar that Steve Dahl and Tom O'Brien just hosted, The Best Way to Use the Taz Profile Scanner to Profit. This webinar archive is available for all subscribers immediately upon signing up. All new subscriptions also come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Start your subscription by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the Taz Profile Scanner under the Services tab. Sign up today. Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
Hi folks, this is Tom O'Brien. Do you have broken or unwanted jewelry, diamonds, watches, coins, silverware, and other collectibles that you would like to turn into cash? Tiger Precious Metals and Stones will pay fair market value. We make it easy to turn your precious metals that are sitting around in your house into cash. Call Andy now at 727-329-8245 and he will walk you through our safe and secure process. Andy has been in the business buying and selling precious metals for over 15 years. Call Andy now at 727-329-8245.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Okay, we're back, folks, and we're going to have Rich Anderson as our guest here in about 12 minutes or so. And Rich and I talk every day, and we have been talking every day since, I think, 1973. I think that's when I first met Rich. I'll have to ask him, but I think that's when I first met him. And he's retired now. Well, retired. And doing what? Doing the same thing he was doing when he was working. Anyway, the question that someone asked me, and we're going to ask Rich the same question. 1 second, please. Is, what was a big turning point in my life? Folks, when you get to be in the 8th furlong, there's a lot of turning points. I was thinking of that this morning trying to answer that question, and I don't know which one would be the biggest, but the earliest one, I can tell you this, is when I was there in school, getting ready to graduate from college. I was going to go to medical school. I was working at St. Anthony's Hospital as a scrub nurse from 11 to 7. It was in the emergency room in the ER and the surgical section there. And I got accepted to Stritch Medical School, the University of Chicago, and I was getting ready to go to medical school. And I was still working, of course, and I was doing it as a scrub nurse. I was working on a case with Dr. Arnold Kunkler, and I was a young boy, about 11 years old. And everything was going well. And right at the end of the surgery, we were sewing him up, and the little guy's heart stopped. It was because of it was an anesthesia death, is what it was. He just didn't respond to the anesthesia very well, and he had to go out and tell the parents that the little boy had died. And he said, "Listen," he said, "I want you to come with me." And so I went out into the lobby, and there was the parents, and it was a family that we knew, and Of course, Darrell was relatively small, and that shook me up so much that we went back into the doctor's lounge, and he said, "See, Larry," he said, "this is what I have to go through when something like this happens." And he said, "Look, medicine, make you a few bucks, but you can make money other places." He said, "This job really sucks as a doctor." He said, "I wish I hadn't become a doctor." And this is the best surgeon in Terre Haute, Indiana. Well, I made a decision that I didn't want to do that anymore. I was so shaken up, and I knew who the kid was, but I didn't know the family much. But to see the emotionalism there just absolutely drained me. And so what I did was I decided not to go to medical school, and that was a turning point because my sainted mother, and we were very, very close, never spoke to me for 4 months before she finally forgave me for not going to medical school. And it was Dr. Conkler that convinced her that he shouldn't go to medical school. And believe me, folks, I have saved so many people's lives over the years by not having to be me being their doctor. That's not something that I would have actually liked, and I'm sure I wouldn't be here now because it's been pretty easy. But I'll tell you, folks, that was a big turning point early in my career, and I never looked back. And then what happened right after that? I got into graduate school. I got a great job with Eli Lilly. I met Dr. Noblet. He told me about Gresham's Law, bad money drives out good. I watched the price of silver rise from about $1.27 all the way up to a little above $4, and I was able to convert, the silver certificates and turn it into about 46,000 large. And I was able to buy my mom a nice pickup truck. By now, she had forgiven me, and everything was okay. It had nothing to do with the money, the fact that she just wanted me to be successful and be a doctor. And being a doctor was the epitome of success back in the 50s and 60s and in those areas. But now it's not so much. But anyway, those are some of the turning points. There's been a whole lot of them. I think one of the biggest ones was 1974 when we had the October crash in 1974 when the Dow went from 1,060 down to 540. That's a 50% retracement. And this was the start of the big bull market, which was in December of 1974, and we're still in it. And but we'll have some corrections along the way, I'm sure. But during that time, that's when I really learned about the markets. I knew a few little things. I knew what Fibonacci was, but I didn't understand the patterns very much. I got the Gartley book from Don Mack at the Investment Center bookstore there on Santa Monica Boulevard, and I studied that for well over a year before I ever traded again. And then when I got into the trade, it was buying the soybeans, meal, and oil. During 1975, I sold it all out in June of '76. At that time, Drexel Burnham hired me, and then I went to work for them for 6 years, and I was bullish gold and silver for 6 years. And you don't have to be a rocket science when gold goes from 180 to 860 during that time, which was a substantial amount. It was really bad. Remember, gold went from 860 in January of 1980 to it didn't bottom until 2003, folks, at $230 an ounce. So it went from 860 to 230, and it took 20 some years to get there. So remember, when these trends start, they can last a long time. But those are, I could probably spend 2 days just talking about, little different things that have happened, meeting, Dr. Miller and stuff like that. I mean, there were just so many of them along the way, but the big ones that I can remember, those are the ones that come to my mind quickly, and that's pretty much what I'm doing here. So it's been a heck of a ride. That's all I can tell you. It's definitely been an e-coupon ride, folks. There's no question about that. So let's take a quick look here. I've got to review what the markets are doing here early this morning. I know it's deader than a doornail out there for most things. We're still trading in a very, very tight range. We did hit 123 in the euro. We almost got to the sell price in our British pound, which is up at 137. We got to 136.20. I'm still looking for the potential for 137 in the British pound. And I'm going to be doing a really long letter as far as charts this week because we have so many things that we need to look at on a weekly basis, especially the grain markets, the foreign currency, the metals markets. All of these are at real critical levels, as, of course, the stock market. We've got these major three drive patterns in the Dow Jones, and we also have a big expansion in the Russell, and the Russell is starting to show weakness. It had been the leader for the last 10 weeks, and now it's starting to show weakness. That's important. That's market feedback, and that's what you're really looking at. So, I showed those charts this morning about the 382 retracements. If we get above that level, which is above 2,000 in the Russell, then that tells us that, yes, we could go a little bit higher. We're also seeing that divergence in the copper market. We went up to that 360 again level, and now we backed off about another 7 cents. And that's also telling us that there's a possibility that we're seeing some type of a high. Now, I don't know if it's going to be the high. I mean, you don't get an extra dollars to see if it's a new high. Nowhere on your equity run is it ever going to, we don't get equity runs anymore, but no place anywhere on your statements does it says, yes, this was the exact high tick. That doesn't make any difference. It's not important. The important thing is how much did you have to risk to see if you got that spot right. And that's what we're looking at. Stay tuned for Rich Anderson, folks.
Larry Pesavento watches the markets 24/7, and now is a great time to try out his daily trading service, Fibonacci 24/7. Larry publishes videos and charts for subscribers throughout the week when warranted, and every weekend he puts out a thorough report covering worldwide markets, futures, commodities, and currencies with Fibonacci retracement levels, possible trading setups and zones, and stops and targets for all recommendations included. Larry applies the principles he's developed over decades of trading while analyzing a variety of markets for subscribers. To see for yourself the types of videos, charts, and analysis that Larry provides for his subscribers, sign up for Fibonacci 24/7 today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under the newsletter tab. You'll also gain instant access to Larry's archived subscriber webinar from earlier this year. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Sign up today. If you're a trader in the market looking to find the path that leads to maximizing profits while decreasing risk, then now is a great time to try out Dave White's daily trading service, The Path of Least Resistance. Through the use of options and equity trades, Dave advises his subscribers on a daily basis of the current market conditions and what possible trade setups are on the horizon. The Path of Least Resistance is published every trading morning, often with updates intraday when initiating trades or closing out positions. Dave White has advised his clients of some outstanding winning options and equity trades in recent months, and now is a great time to try it out for yourself. New subscribers to the Path of Least Resistance receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the types of options and equity trades that are available by signing up for the Path of Least Resistance today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com and selecting the newsletter tab. Sign up today. TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, we're back, folks. I believe we have Rich Anderson on the line. Rich, are you there?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Larry. How you doing?
Pretty good, Rich. We've been friends for a long time. Didn't we meet was it the Squawk Box at Payne Weber back in the 73, 74? Now we're tell the folks you're from South Dakota, but tell the folks how you got involved in the commodity markets, and we'll go from there. I mean, you always talk to us, but I mean, people don't know your background, so give us a little. And honest to God, Rich, I can't remember. I know you're from South Dakota, and we've been friends for many years. We've been to each other's houses many times, and yet I don't remember the exact exactly how we met. So why don't you just go ahead and tell us what your background is?
I'll tell you, I've been following the markets for a long time. When I was, you get a learner's permit and a work permit when you're 14 in South Dakota. So driving the grain trucks to town when you're 14, and you dump the grain, you get a ticket. It had the price on it and the number of bushels, and that price might change 2 cents from one load to another, and that's $5 or $6 to a 14-year-old kid in South Dakota back in 1964 or 65. That was a lot of money, and so I started following the markets back then. Then I went to college because the only two things I knew when I was growing up was I was a Republican and I was going to college. Didn't know why. That's the way it was in that family. And after college, I decided, if I don't get a job, I got to go back to the farm, and that's too much work. So I got a job, and I got as a broker, and lucked out and got into Payne Weber, and got to know some really great people like yourself who taught me all the things I needed to know to accumulate a little money over the years. And more isn't better; it's just more. And I've been lucky, and that's kind of how it's worked.
Yeah, well, it's a lot more than luck when you've been doing it as long as you have, my friend. Now, you also hired Cy Only. It was his first job, wasn't it?
Yeah. And, Cy was a guy that assisted me for quite a bit of time. And, I tried to teach him everything I could, just like you had taught me everything you could. And I think it worked out fairly well for him because he's made a little money over the years, and actually quite a little money. And, he's enjoying a life on vacation right now down in Boulders in the Carefree. So, you can't beat that. That's a beautiful place to be. Except they raised the taxes from 4.9 to 8%. So I wouldn't recommend moving to Arizona anymore.
Yeah, well, that's just the start of it. We got so many people coming here from California. That's just really amazing. We're seeing so many license plates from other places like we've never seen before. Sarah makes it into a little game, and my goodness, every time we go to the market or something, we're seeing different license plates in places we've never seen before. So, who knows what's going to happen? That's for sure. Now, Rich, one other question that someone has asked. What is the most important book that you've read that's helped you in your journey besides the Bible? Because I know you're a very, very Christian person.
Right.
But what would be the most important of the market books that you've read that probably helped you the most?
Well, I think the Disciplined Trader by Mark Douglas, our good friend Mark. I mean, listen, every day. Yeah. But so much of the stuff I've learned from you. Frankly, the best thing I've seen in recent times is the floor trading thing that you guys put together here 2 months ago, 3 months ago, whatever. It's not necessarily. Well, it's not like a hard-covered book, but that's given the average person more information than they could get. You don't learn it in classes. I mean, they don't teach this stuff in classes.
Yeah, that's true.
And,
well, this is not a commercial.
And that's just the truth of it. But I liked what you did, this summer in that Floor Traders Manual. I thought that was a heck of a lot of information. And I would say that's as good as anything. I mean, you can you can go back to the technical analysis stock markets, Macmillan's option book. But right now, these markets have changed. It's about momentum, breakouts, and momentum. You got these Robinhood guys who'll chase anything. The key point that I made the last several times I've been on, I think I was on earlier in December, and I told you about the grain markets. We have a problem here. We've got supply of X, and we've got demand of X, and demand's more than supply. And, earlier in the year, I said, nobody's expected you to go to a grocery store and see shelves empty and, talk to people that have been to the grocery store to buy toilet paper and couldn't get any. Well, we're kind of in that space right now in a lot of these commodities, and the end users are having to cover. And as one of the old technicians said, the wider the base, the higher in space. Look how wide the base is on corn. It's just taken off. And look at the price of copper and how it's gone up. And don't think that it's already overbought. Yeah, maybe. But look how straight up lumber went, as an example. I fully expect that we could see the stock market up another 4 or 5% just in January alone. But you got to use discipline and use stops. There's going to be a lot of volatility. I'm heavily involved in politics from time to time, and one of the sayings we have is you can't cheat if it isn't close. Well, the races in Georgia are racer close, and who controls the Senate will decide whether or not we have somebody tamping on the brakes a little bit as far as our spending. Our spending goes wild. In 2008, we spent $500 billion, in 6 months. We did $500 billion this time, in a week.
Yeah, I know. It's just really amazing.
So that story translates into dollar, and I don't know about you, but it doesn't look like it's going up to me.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's got basically a vacuum down there, and we just made new lows in the U.S. dollar just a little while ago when we made the high in the euro there. So that's quite interesting.
Right. That'll help every commodity. I mean, that'll put a 5 handle on the corn, as an example. I would fully expect we could see $5 corn.
Well, we're not very far away. That's for sure. Rich, let me ask you a question about the meat market, because we have a question here. We've heard a lot about this hog flu over in China and stuff. Is that out of the picture now, or is that still a picture? Because hogs haven't really moved very much. They're still in that $60 range.
Well, let me explain to you that they depopulated 200 to 300 million hogs, more hogs than we have in this whole country. They've now repopulated those hogs. So think of it as if they've got 300 million new mouths to feed. And what do they feed them? They feed them corn and soybean meal. And will they need our hogs? No, not necessarily. But two of the biggest, they have such usage, they still have to import. Two of the biggest importers that they get hogs from are the Danes and the Germans. And they have it in Romania and those areas over there have Asian swine flu. Well, they don't want any of that brought back in. So they're giving us some business, but it's not huge.
Well, hey, stay with us, folks. Rich Anderson, Anderson Capital Management. We'll be right back.
Hi, folks. This is Tom O'Brien. The printing presses are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The U.S. deficit has risen 200% in 1 year with no end in sight. The markets are looking for an additional stimulus bill to get us through this once-in-a-generation pandemic. There is no free lunch, folks. The more stimulus dollars put into the marketplace, the less your dollar is worth each and every day. This is the time to protect yourself with a portion of your portfolio in the metal market. The Gold Report comes out each Monday morning. I bisect and dissect the dollar, silver, gold, the XAU, and the HUI. The Gold Report is a long-term hedge against the dilution of your buying power. The U.S. has put more than $6 trillion into the marketplace in the last 6 months, with more expected in the next few months. The market did and does need the stimulus, but it will have long-term implications on our buying power. The Gold Report comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to TFNN.com and order the Gold Report now. Protect your buying power. Order the Gold Report now.
the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Hi folks, this is Tom O'Brien. Are you looking to buy or sell gold, silver, platinum, coins, or bullion? We can help. At Tiger Precious Metals and Stones, we specialize in the buying and selling of gold, silver, as well as collectible U.S. and foreign coins. We not only buy your unwanted or broken jewelry, but you can trade that in for gold and silver coins too. Call Indy now at 727-329-8245 for a quote over the phone and to lock in the current market price. Call us now at 727-329-8245.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
The Bull Bear Trading Hour with Tom and Tommy O'Brien. Next.
Okay, we're back talking with Rich Anderson out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Rich, we have a question. How is the situation as far as the defunding police there in Minneapolis?
Oh, well, I think they've transferred like $8 million, and they're going to use the healthcare workers for some of the calls. But, like we had carjackings since the issues earlier in the summer like crazy, and they finally did a sting, and they used a couple of helicopters. One guy carjacked 5 cars in an hour. Holy
wow.
God, how can you do that? So they're going to try some things. The people in the neighborhoods where they've reduced the police, they're frightened, but there's nothing they can do because the council people know best,
Okay,
and
Rich,
there's nothing the mayor can do because it's a strong council kind of government.
All right, we have another question. I don't know if you want to answer this or not. Are you going to take the virus the virus? Are you going to take the vaccine if it's offered to you, Rich?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't want to take it in front of people that are exposed, and that healthcare workers, essential people. But as soon as it's available to me, absolutely, I'll take it the moment it's available. There's no question about that. And this messenger RNA is new stuff, but I think it's going to work. The efficacy it's unbelievable, and so there's no question about that. But there's always going to be some people that, like the president of Brazil went off and said something last week. I mean, that's just unbelievable.
Yeah. Rich, let's get back. Since we're talking about Brazil, the weather's changed a little bit in Brazil and Argentina. The beans have sold off just a tad. Are we still looking at $13 beans here in the near future coming into 2021?
Well, we're kind of knocking on the door at 13. Maybe we should be talking about 15. I mean, in the last 14 days, they're 74% of a year ago is moisture. In the last 30 days, they're 64% of normal. I mean, they're getting some rain right now, but it's rain as a percent of normal, and they're way behind. And in Argentina, they still got 7 million acres of beans left to plant, and they got 10 to 15 days to decide, are we going to plant them or is it just too darn dry? And in Brazil, because of the dryness, they planted later, well, that makes their second crop of corn that they plant after the beans are harvested, later, or maybe not even going to make it. I mean, these things are all backing up. The Argentine ports, they settled the strike. They got 150 ships there, and it's going to take them a while to get those ships loaded. Just look how lumber went vertical. These markets can and have gone vertical, and they're going to be bumped. I think the biggest concern I have is, the election on January 5th, and then we have the crop reports on the 12th. Now, that is going to be a big crop report. A lot of the trade thinks our carryover in corn right now is at $1.3 billion. Well, if it's $1.3 billion, then we're probably talking, way into the five handles for corn. But these things are going to swing, and so you got to trade them technically, and you got to use discipline. By the way, they now have microcurrencies, micro S&P, NASDAQ, and Dow futures. They've cut them in by 10%, 10-1 again, so that anybody can actually trade those, because the E-mini now is almost $1 million contract, $925,000. So for a person that's learning to trade, I'd take a look at the micros.
But yeah, I agree with that, because that makes your losses a lot smaller, and that's what you got to protect when you're first starting out, for sure.
I know, that's what they say in Vegas. Yeah. The less you bet, the more you win when you lose.
Yeah. Hey, Rich, do you remember the time we were in Vegas? It was you, I, Mark Douglas, Bryce Gilmore, and Bob Miner. And we were in the casino, and Bryce wanted to play a hand of blackjack for $1,000, and they were very, very busy. And so Robert St. John was there too, and Bryce went up to the dealer, the pit boss, and he said, "We'd like to play $1,000 a hand." So they set up a table to play, and these guys sat there. They bet like $8,000 across the board. Do you remember that?
Yeah, but there's some big elephants in Vegas. I mean, that's small change compared to some of the big elephants I've seen play.
Yeah, well,
I've seen a guy at a crap table by himself, nobody on either table, on both sides of him, and they're playing with chips I had never seen before. I asked the pit boss; he had to call upstairs to see what they were. They were $25, $50, and $100,000 chips. That guy had, as I calculated, $1.5 million to $2 million on every roll. Now, it turns out he was from Minnesota, and he's now a guest of the state of Minnesota, Pedersen.
Oh, I see.
But I watched him play for 4 hours, betting that kind. I mean, it's easy to bet other people's money.
Yeah, gosh, I certainly remember those old days, that's for sure. Hey, listen, I want to thank you for being our guest today. I wish you a happy new year, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. But make sure you be safe over there. You're still having your food delivered and everything?
Oh, absolutely. Well, you guys have a joyful and healthy, prosperous new year, and the best way to do that I know is with disciplined trading.
Yeah,
trade what you see.
Yep, thank you very much, buddy, and we'll see you later, and Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You bet. Rich Anderson, folks, and let's take a quick look here at the euro. I posted a chart in there of just a 5-minute euro, giving you the last 12 hours or so. You can see we made a perfect 3-drive to a top pattern there. That's all functioning of the ABCD. You have to have an ABCD to get a 3-drive to a top pattern. The market broke about $400, and now we're going to see whether it's going to go back and make a new high or not. It's still a little early. Remember, the volume is really light now, folks. You're looking at volumes that are approaching Saturday and Sunday type volumes. By the way, they do trade those cryptocurrencies 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But, I know the prices are real and everything, but frankly, you have to remember that these are not like regular exchanges. So you've got to be very, very careful. And there's a lot of crooks out there. So if you're doing that type of business, understand that you have to have a wallet to keep these, codes that you have to tell that you have these Bitcoins or tokens, whatever you're using. So it's not an easy gig. It's not like buying an ETF here, folks. It really isn't. It's certainly not a tulip bulb issue by any stretch of the imagination, because when you can go from $100 to $19,900 and then down to $3,100 per coin, and now back to $28,800, folks, that is not a bubble yet. It probably will be. The outstanding target that John Jameson has been looking for several years now, and he still thinks it'll happen sometime between 2022 and 2024, will be above $55,000 in Bitcoin itself. There's a whole bunch of others. There's well over 1,000, I believe, of the cryptocurrency. So you have to be careful if you're going to try to select it, and learn as much as you can about it before you do any investing, because you got to figure out how much you're going to risk. 877-927-6648.
Back in the day, I joined Hotel California in 2006, and like many of you, was drawn in by, as well as...
Whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows.
You see, I believe that everything in life happens for us, not to us. And Tom ignited the fire within me to want to learn how to master the markets. So how did I go from knowing nothing about technical analysis to becoming the #1 market timer for the S&P 500 in 2018 and the #2 market timer in 2019? Simply put, I hired coaches with a proven track record, which led me to a whole new set of tools that I created to interpret the message of buyers and sellers. I would love the opportunity to teach you this award-winning set of tools and help you improve your market timing. You can test drive my newsletter service, Mastering Probabilities, for the next 30 days with no risk to you. Plus, you'll gain access to archive workshops that'll take you step by step through my system. Sign up today by going to the homepage of TFNN.com and selecting Mastering Probability in the newsletter tab.
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
With markets trading with extreme volatility and peaks and troughs everywhere, regardless of what you're looking at in the markets, this is a great time to see the type of analysis Basil Chapman delivers for his subscribers every market day with the Opening Call newsletter. Basil has been analyzing markets, providing his take for subscribers to his trading services since 1984. Every morning, Basil publishes an update for his subscribers, along with weekend and evening updates when warranted. The Opening Call provides traders a daily market overview with regard to the direction of the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, along with specific recommendations, including stops and targets. You also gain instant access to Basil's subscriber webinar archive from earlier this year, a dark cloud cover, and essential market analysis. Ride the Chapman wave today by signing up for the Opening Call newsletter on the front page of TFNN.com under the newsletter tab. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Sign up today.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, we're back, folks, and I wanted to tell you folks that are in the den, you're really blessed to have some really smart people in there all day long. Dudette, Maria just posted the fact that the Russell had just made a 382 retracement of the whole range from yesterday. And as you can see, it stopped right on the moment that it stood. As long as we don't make a new high on the day in Russell now, we should be heading down in this. That's what the bottom line says it should be, but that doesn't mean it's going to be. It's all based on risk control. So if we turn here, make a new high in the Russell, we're probably going to have a little bit more of a rally. But the Russell, you got to pay attention to, folks, because it is rather important. You know, the S&P has the largest volume in open interest, followed closely, well, it's quite a bit less than the S&P, but is the Russell, the next is the NASDAQ, and the last one, of course, is the Dow Jones, as it should be, because the Dow Jones is only 30 stocks, and they're cap-weighted, not price-weighted, and that makes a big difference also. So make sure that when you're watching that, it's very, very important to pay close attention to. So if you get above 2,000 in the Russell, that will most probably tell you that 382 sequence is broken and we can still rally a little bit. But as we set right now, 1983, not so much is really happening that's any difference at all. Regarding the gold, folks, I spoke yesterday about it. They're going to do a lot of work on it over the weekend. And that is the fact that, you know, we have that gold-silver index, that GDX, that is acting very, very bearish. And it's hard for gold to go up without that market turning around. So that's one of the things that we'll be watching for a potential turn here very, very shortly. So when we see that, we're going to get on the board of the gold, because if you can get Bitcoin trading at 28,000, you could easily get gold at 2,800. Because gold has a lot of followers that have real bucks. So not that these Bitcoin folks don't have. I'm just saying that they watch that quite a bit. And with the Fed pumping money in this and the dollar heading into the sewer, swirling down the circular drain as we speak, you know, we could be looking at some hyperinflation coming up here in 2021. Just remember, folks, try to help some folks out there that are having trouble. There's a bunch of them. Live every day in an attitude of gratitude, and may God bless.